We were approaching those Weimar Republic days, those days where you have $50 price movements within a single day, trending towards 100 perhaps. You might be wondering what am I talking about? It's simple. Do you think that people in Weimar Republic actually thought this type of trend would turn out to be what history has revealed it to be? More than likely not. And based upon what things are happening today, it's good to say a lot of people are not foreseeing the same type of hyperinflationary prices that they saw in Germany until it was too late. And that, my friends, is worth talking about. Okay, so I want to take a minute to share some thoughts in reference to the continuous momentum when it comes to precious metals, in particular gold. And I came across a couple charts that really caught my attention that I wanted to share with you just because it paints a very unique perspective and angle as to where the actual USD price of gold stood head. And even though it's very premature, I just thought for the sake of a simple exercise, I want to share some graphs and just highlight how we could be in the beginning phases of a Weimar or Weimar Republic style event. And so right now I'm looking at gold prices and it is telling us something that should be alarming to a lot because the 30-year bond note is definitely approaching our 5 percentage basis point, and therefore that means the government's going to be under more pressure to implement yield curve control and everything of that nature because governments globally are experiencing the same thing. Fiat is failing in real time when measured against something stable in the form of gold. So let's go right to the chart and I'll give you more of an idea of what I'm talking about. So on the screen here, you see the current price action of gold and silver. The opening of the markets here in the Western Hemisphere, there was a slight dip, but then again, back off to the races. So clearly we have a lot of pressure from the Eastern Hemisphere, especially as the Shanghai Cooperation Organization meeting comes to an end, where lots of things were talked about, such as global governance, such as the electronic yuan being discussed. Of course, the SCO bank was being discussed. And you better believe all that talk there was nothing to do with the Federal Reserve note, aka the dollar. And so therefore, where else are people going to run? They're going to run to safety in the form of gold and silver. And it's definitely telling us an interesting story. So let's get right into that graph that I started off with. So on the screen here, you see the early signs of what took place in Weimar Republic leading up to the complete collapse of their fiat version of currency. And so you look at the time frames from 1918 to right above me is 1923. And this particular price of gold at under 1,000 Reichmarks or circle, symbolizing the beginning phases of what from history turned out to be the ultimate bull market that still sets the record for the greatest fiat depreciation for the most part in modern history. And so when I saw that visual age there with that 5-year or so time frame, it got me thinking about present times and the amount of increase we've seen in the gold prices to this current moment. And could it be trending in like fashion to the Weimar Republic? We'll see. But here on the screen here, we have the last 5 years priced in USD terms, and we see a continual upward trajectory of gold. And at this current moment, approaching $3,600, we are just at the beginning of where it more than likely will go. But then again, to Weimar Republic type highs, I wouldn't necessarily get all excited just yet, because ultimately what that spells is the end of civilization as we've known it in reference to stability within the financial sector and of course within the economy, and in particular amongst the population in society, because we all know how Weimar Republic ended, and it wasn't pretty for the holders of the fiat currency version of their currency. But back to the chart here, where it highlights incremental rise of gold up until the point where it got out of hand. And this is what caught my attention. And so as I zoom out here, you can see the value of one gold mark in paper marks. And so the fact that this was circled and shared on X by Jamie Brusco, someone who's a commentator in the gold and precious metal space here, really got me to thinking as to how similar in nature this could be, but yet far from reality at this current moment, given the fact that at the time, Germany didn't have the world reserve currency. So the consequences of that type of this current moment will cause so much damage to unravel the entire monetary system in of itself. So I wouldn't get too excited just yet, because as I mentioned, it won't be good for civilization if we get to those type of figures there. But I thought it would be worthwhile to share some other commentary associated with this post here, because it really gets you thinking about the timing, the events, as well as the importance of having gold in times of uncertainty, and now being one of those times. So as you can see here, somebody posted as a follow-up comment to that particular graph here, and it says the gold price between 1900 and 1933 was maintained at $20.67 per ounce. Given today's price, a 3,500 plus increase would put us at 171.26 times. It says if each year of this chart represents 25 years, that would make the start of 1922 our 2018 moment. So there's extremely uncanny resemblance. And of course, he decided to overlay the 5-year time period 2008-2020s. And so based upon those comments there, it would lead you to believe that we are definitely on similar pathways as to what took place close to 100 years ago in Germany. But then again, it doesn't stop there when you look at graphs that are showing exponential curves. Here's another interesting graph that shows China's possession of gold and how they themselves have incrementally increased their holding to the point where it looks like an upward curve, showing a large amount of physical gold in their coffers. Whereas here in the Western world, we don't talk about gold much. Mainstream media focuses on Bitcoin and Ethereum, and I wonder why. But as you can see here, the amount of kilograms that China have been importing and grabbing from the ground in their own regions has gone parabolic. And so as the price of gold increases, guess who stands to win when it comes to that cliche of whoever holds the most gold sets the rules. Alas, when it comes to the S&P 500 and the excitement around this current administration on talking about stocks being at an all-time high, but when measured against gold, there's no comparison. Here's a thread that I love to keep an eye on just because they give some deep analysis that's definitely worth considering in the grand scheme of things. And so here, as it says here, gold is telling the future. The S&P 500 is one of the strongest bull runs in decades, up 1,650 points in under 5 months. It says, meanwhile, gold's year-to-date return just hit 37%, nearly 4 times more than the S&P 500 year-to-date. And so why is gold crushing stocks in the bull market? And it goes on to give a thread here, but just this visual aid here lets you know that the purple line is the S&P 500. And since April, it's definitely been moving up, but nowhere near as fast as gold at the very top. As it says here, gold is up 36%, while the S&P since the beginning of this year is only up 9%. So my friends, as these charts move up, we ain't seen nothing yet in comparison to where they can go. But one thing's for sure, clearly, we are at the beginning phases of what will be considered possibly a Weimar moment when we look back in history books, because there is no ceiling to how high gold can go, because there's no floor as to how low the fiat currency can be debased. The reason I say that, because this graph tells it all. As you can see, the inverted chart of the dollar measured against gold, the Federal Reserve note, aka what we call a dollar, steadily trending downward to the tune of, it takes approximately 3,500 Federal Reserve notes, 1 ounce of gold. And this, my friends, is the real story. And it's only going to go down further as we enter into more of the Weimar moment. Once again, taking a minute, sharing my 2 cents on what caught my attention today. Weimar moment or not, curious to hear what you guys think. As always, if you found value, hit that thumbs up button. Drop a comment down below. Take this share so people can get an alternative perspective as to what's really going on here, so that they can brace and prepare for the changing times, because we are already in the midst of a monetary reset. And last but not least, if you haven't, take advantage of the most affordable gold that you can actually get in your hands that'll help protect and preserve your purchasing power as we witness this Weimar moment. Then go to buygoldnotes.com and take you to this page here, and then do the prudent and responsible thing, which is of course to redeem fiat to get it into something tangible, true, tried and tested, and that's of course 24 karat gold. But other than that, looking forward to reading your comments. Catch you guys later.